Welcome back to BK Nothing But Nets podcast. Got a full panel today. I got the whole dream team in place. I got Dylan from Nets Press. I got John, everything BK Nets, and we got LBL here. We're starting the show. LBL, that light, can you kind of move that light? It's yeah, there you go. That's better. The light reflection is. Yeah, you're good. You're good. I don't know who that is. Who is that? All right, so a little
Toby from Troll Hunters.
Little change in plans today. CJ Holmes was not going to be able to make it. We had to reschedule. So we're going to do a mock draft, first round mock draft with trades, and then we're going to break down some of the news, and we'll try to reschedule something with CJ for later. We got a full panel today. Dylan, you want to drive here, and I'll share the mocks. We're going to do a first round mock, full first round mock, and then get into the news. But you want to do with trades, correct? And you want to do a lottery?
Hey, question. Do we have to limit it to who actually declared?
That's a Dylan question. Dylan, you're muted.
Oh, I've been talking for about 5 minutes. That's great. Day two in a row of this shit. Yeah. So, I was thinking of doing trades, one draft sim, and then also, it's a little difficult right now because guys like Laxel Yendeborg, who genuinely should be in the first round this year, are he's committed, and it sounds like he's staying in college. So if you guys want to keep it realistic to where we're not using guys that are either not declared for the draft or already committed to a new team, we can do it that way. So Yaxel, JT Toppin, we just won't use some of those guys.
Well, Toppin is going back. He's already transferred, correct?
Yeah, Toppin already took a $4 million NIL deal. Yaxel committed to Michigan. So
Toppin got how much?
$4 million.
Wow.
Nico Alimalava over at Tennessee, he's got it right. He's underpaid. Toppin got $4 million.
I just saw the Nico kid. They kicked him out of school.
Is that what happened? I mean, he's trying to hold out like an NFL player. He didn't go to practice.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's already a head case. He'll end up honestly, it would be funny to see if he ended up with my Florida State. That'd be funny.
He's got something. Someone offered him $4 million. That's how he came up with that money. You know what I'm saying? He didn't just.
Oh no, I'm saying JT Toppin got $4 million.
Oh, Top. Okay,
yeah,
I see.
Toppin got $4 million and took that from Texas Tech this day.
Yeah.
And based on having two brothers in the NBA, he's probably the one that doesn't need it as much.
Probably. Not to mention too, he would probably go between picks 26 through 35. You're not making even close to $4 million.
No, there's more money to stay in college. All right.
Yeah.
You guys, Dylan, walk me through this. You can't do you? Yeah, you can see.
So yeah, quick restart draft.
Restart draft. Yeah, yep. I got you.
And then click on create lotto sim. A little further down. A little bit more. And right there.
Here we go.
All right, so we're doing one sim.
Unless the Nets draft 10, then we're doing it again. But let's just roll with it.
Last one we did, they landed 2. All right.
8.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
This is what we're looking at, guys. Season from hell.
Feels like reality.
All right, so let's use it in the mock draft.
This is what we get. I'm going to be so pissed. If we get 8, I'm going to be so pissed. All right.
So here, scroll up just a little bit. Yeah, click on use in mock draft right below all the teams.
Right below all the teams? Using mock draft, yeah.
All right, and then make sure we're on first round, not full round.
First round.
And then click on NBA. And click on no ceilings. All right, let's get it.
Let's go.
So who got first? Was this Utah? Yeah, and that's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Go.
The white guy.
Yep, go with the white
All
guy.
right.
Yeah, no, I mean it sucks because like when you're kind of going into like the draft process and stuff, you want to talk about all the prospects, but it's literally there's nothing to discuss anymore with Cooper Flag and Dylan Harper. They're 1 and 2. They're
Yeah.
that good that it's just inevitable. So it's kind of hard to keep repeating yourself on how talented these kids are. So yeah, number 1 Cooper Flag, number 2 Dylan Harper. I don't even have to.
Dylan Harper goes to Washington. Sorry about that, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm sure his dad
Tough
will have
break,
something to
kid.
do.
Hey,
Yep.
you don't think that that's you don't think that that'll work out for Washington?
I think
Yeah,
he's
when
a good compliment with Sarr. I think that's what Harper would probably have the most chemistry with is Sarr, because Sarr's a big. But I don't know how Jordan Poole fits the
if they
equation.
bottom out again next year and land a top 5 pick, yeah, and then they move off of Jordan Poole, yeah. But
Right,
they're
exactly.
gonna have to
I
bottom
just
out
think-
for like 3 years.
Yeah, I
think-
would think I wouldn't want Jordan Poole like within 3 miles of this kid.
No, if you have a core
I
of
just
Dylan
think
Harper,
going to
Bilal
Washington
Coulibaly, Alex
is the
Sarr,
NFL
and then-
equivalent of going to the Jets. Like, it's not going to work out because the organization is a disaster. It's just not going to work out because it's a loser organization. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but what I'm trying
I'd say
to
more
say
so
is,
the Browns.
but what I'm
Same
trying
thing,
to say
yeah.
is, we can remember when they were closer, like when they first had Wall and Beal, and they were closer. They just, So I'm saying it's not like, they're, have a drought of like 20 years or something. So I'm just saying, like, you get this guy a foundational position, and this guy who might be multiple years All-Star, he might start to change the culture there.
By the way, I just want to let you guys know I did 1 lottery simulation on Fanspo as well. Spurs got number 1, Heat got number 2, Rockets got number 3. I think I'd actually fucking throw up.
That's much more realistic. But
Yep.
no, I got a question for you. We got a question in the chat for you. Well, not for you, but if anyone knows the answer, or how
It's between a tiebreaker, I believe.
Yeah, if
It's
Chicago
a
and
coin
Sac
flip.
finish with identical records, who gets pick 12 and who gets
Yeah,
13?
it depends on their matchups who beat the other most, and then if it's tied, I believe it comes down to who outscored the other more.
Point differential.
Yeah, point differential. So I'm
Head
not
to
too
head.
sure specifically, but
Yeah.
as of right now, I believe Sacramento doesn't have that pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Like it's top
Okay.
12 protected, so they likely are not to have it. As of
Please
right
don't,
Okay.
please don't remind us of beating the 76ers.
Hey, I went nuts when that happened back-to-back times, and people were saying, "Oh, don't worry, it's going to all work out."
Yep, I remember.
Morons. It's
Well,
like
look, we're gonna find out in a couple weeks whether or not, you know what I'm saying. Like the tank
we are
didn't
1
tank.
full month away. Yeah.
Yeah, the tank didn't tank. I get it, right? Like, this is not what anyone had planned. And the
So-
season was an unmitigated failure. There's no silver lining to this season.
No, not one.
And if we win the lottery or we get a top 3 or top 4 pick, great. But like, we didn't do anything to warrant that. The teams it was just there's no whatever you rooted for this year. If you were a win every game fan, we won 26 games. How you feeling? If you were a tank fan, we won 26 games. How you feeling? Like, there's no silver lining here. There's nobody won. Everybody lost.
See, and the problem
Jordy.
is if you look at the rosters of the teams ahead of us in terms of draft lottery, right? You have Philly, 10 times better roster than us. I don't care what you say or how much you hate them. They have a 10 times better roster.
10 times better. 10 times better.
You have Utah. Larry
10
Markkanen is a
times
better star than Cam Thomas. That's just a fact. They also have guys like John Collins. They have guys like Taylor Hendricks, who's going to come back from injury. Keontae George, who's better than probably any young player that we have currently on our team, like outside of Cam Thomas. But meaning they have a better roster than us all around. Washington, they have better young players than us. Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, they're likely to be drafting in the top 5 this year. They have a better young core than us. Like, I genuinely think our core of players is probably the worst core out of the top 6 lottery odd picks. Like, it's really that bad. New Orleans, for fuck's sake, they have Zion Williamson. They have Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy, even if they move Zion, is potentially going to be an all-star with the production that he just put up this year, pretty much on his own. Like, Trey Murphy's a dog. Herb Jones, really freaking good.
Yeah.
They have young players. Brandon Boston, really good player. Like, Charlotte, LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Mark Williams if he stays healthy. They have Tejan Saloon, who they're still developing. Tejan Saloon's better than any young player that we have on our team outside of Cam Thomas.
We have Reese Beekman, Drew Timmy, and Tosan from Walmart. I mean,
it's
this
really
is
bad.
a joke.
Waking up the NBA, Gary, like coffee on a Saturday morning.
Like, what's all we have, bro?
And that's where I still get so confused. That's where I still get so confused on how somebody looks at this current roster and says, you know what? If we land Cooper Flag and trade for Giannis, we're going to be so good. Like, no, because you're going to get rid of all those decent pieces that you have for a Giannis to put next to a young player who's likely not going to be able to win until his second, third season. And you still have to build a roster around that. And what's the problem with that? Sean Marks can't build a roster. So we're not in a good spot whatsoever. Like,
I've been trying to say
be the bearer of bad.
I think Lou hit on the head. It was harder to tank than it was to make the play and lay it to Agripo. And the crazy thing is, when we faced Washington and Portland, they crushed us. That was like your reality check right there. Like, yeah, we're a half game out playing, but we're getting crushed by two teams who aren't top teams, but younger talent-wise, man, they blow us in the dirt. Like, that should have been the reality check for this organization. I think it was, but it's like too little too late. You now want to start doing this the right way with like 8 games to go? Come on. This organization needs to just wake up and have get rid of the scotch. Stop drinking the bottle of scotch and start drinking some water. Like, enough's enough.
Let's get back to the draft. Let's get back to the draft.
That's Toronto taking Ace Bailey?
Dylan, we got Ace or VJ. What does Toronto do?
They are taking VJ Edgecombe.
Wow.
And the reason for that is because there's rumors about RJ Barrett potentially being moved. I would assume this is in light of trying to either add more depth around their core 3 and then soon to be VJ Edgecombe, or trying to get a starting caliber center. That's an improvement over Jakob Poeltl. So to me, VJ Edgecombe is the best fit as the replacement for RJ Barrett. I also think he fits perfectly alongside Ingram and Scotty Barnes. Barnes is really not the offensive power that some people were hoping he would turn into. He's more of like a better offensive version of Ben Simmons.
A glue guy.
Yeah, like to me, he's the guy that's going to give you 19, 7, and 5. And that's really good. Is it all-star level? No. Is it borderline star level? Yes. Brandon Ingram being your main scorer, and VJ Edgecombe is a perfect fit next to those two simply because he can do both. He can score at a high caliber once he's fully developed, and he's a high caliber defensive player already. So I think it's a really good fit to put alongside.
And I'd add on to that, Scotty is the type of guy, he could be your best player on your team, but he's not going to be your leading scorer.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, number 4, Sacramento Kings. How did they get 4?
Wait, whoa. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I guess. Let's see. Their current roster, what do they have? DeRozan, they have Levine, they have Malik Monk. I mean, realistically here, they're probably a team that should go big, man. But at the same time, you would have to think. There. Yeah, you kind of just have to go with him, especially with what they're – honestly, that's a really good fit for him because when DeRozan's contract ends, Ace will hopefully be fully developed and can be your main guy. And I think that he kind of needs to
he doesn't need the rebound.
Yeah, I think he kind of needs to be on a team that can give him a year to fully develop. Kind of like how in the NFL, right? You see guys get drafted and get thrown in right away and do poorly at the quarterback position, but then you also see the guy that sits a year behind an Alex Smith, a.k.a. Patrick Mahomes, and then turns into the best quarterback in football. So it's definitely kind of the same situation with Ace where he may need a full year to really develop the remainder of his game. And I could see Sacramento being a good spot for him. I mean, managerial-wise and coaching-wise, I think it's an awful fit because they are notorious for screwing over coaches and just making poor moves. But
who's their point guard now?
Devin Carter, I believe.
Okay.
I think Malik Monk's running the one, but realistically, by next season, it should be Devin Carter.
Yeah.
All right. It's Charlotte at 5. This is interesting. I know who I think they would take, but this is interesting. So you got Bridges. You got a decent roster. You got Melo Ball. You have Brandon Miller. You have a couple of good players here. Mark Williams, I don't know what happens with him. I know where I think they would go, but what says you, Dylan?
I don't think they're taking Jakunas.
I think they take Maluwa.
So do you want me to be the Nets GM and be an aggressive GM today?
Well, I mean, do what you think they're gonna like. If you would have bet your life savings on who they would pick, who would you put your money on?
I was watching a mock draft last week, and the guy's a Hornets fan. Surprisingly, they exist. I mean, we're in the same boat, man. Yeah. But I saw him do a trade back with the Nets. Now I think it was from 5 to 7, so this would
Okay.
be one spot back. But I also can still see it being realistic. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have the Nets trade up to 5. I think when you're in the situation that you're in, if you fall to 8, you kind of need to be a bit aggressive and
Yeah.
make sure you get the guy that is going to be the franchise changer, and that's means Jeremiah Fears. So we're going to do pick number 8 and pick number 25 for the 5th overall pick. Straight up, just like that.
Okay.
And then remind me later on that we have to have a Hornets trade up because they got a good amount of draft capital to move up with. So the Nets at 5, we're going to have them select Jeremiah Fears. It may be a bit of a reach. I know people have him projected between 6 through 10. But to me, if you're in the position that Brooklyn's in, and especially if the lottery doesn't treat you well, which deservingly it shouldn't, then I definitely think you need to make the move up and be aggressive. So Jeremiah Fears is the pick here for me.
Give us, this is our pick. This is our franchise guy. So give us a little breakdown on his game. I got his highlight up. Tell us a little bit about what kind of point guard Jeremiah Fears is doing.
Yeah, to me, he's on a very similar trajectory in terms of path and impact that he made in his first year of college. Similar to what Ja Morant did the year that he got drafted. Now, I'm not saying that his play style is Ja Morant, but in terms of how much of a key factor he became at Oklahoma, it's very similar to if you compare like Ja Morant and Trae Young. When Trae Young went to Oklahoma, they were absolutely nothing. They did not have a very good roster, and they still made the tournament, similar to what Jeremiah Fears did with Oklahoma this year. And then, of course, Ja Morant at Murray State, a no-name school. He wasn't even projected in the top 10 that year and blew up all the way to number 2. If this was last year's class, I truly think Fears would be a top 3 pick. And you can even make the argument that he is a top 3 talent this year in terms of the production that he put up at Oklahoma. So to me, the scoring upside that he has is something that we haven't seen in terms of just the poise that he has to his game, the efficiency. He's also one of the 3 youngest players in this draft class. So to me, the upside is tremendously high on him. And he's also a really good playmaker. The assist numbers don't maybe scream high caliber playmaker simply because
I disagree. I think he's an excellent, like an underrated playmaker.
I think he's a very good playmaker. When I talk about playmaking, I'm thinking assist, right? And he's only averaging 4 assists, but if you look at the team around him, he was making the right reads every time. I mean, you see it right there. It just depends on if the guys are knocking down the shots. And if you put him in a system where you can draft the correct players and eventually add a star one day, I truly do see him as a guy that could be like a 22-6 type of guy. So
we talked about this during the season. We said if you took Trae off of Texas and you took Fears off of Oklahoma, which team is better, right? Well, Texas is way better. Yeah. And Oklahoma was the better team this year because how good this guy is. And you're right. You're not going to pile up the assists if you don't have any shot makers on your team. Like I can lead you to the water, but I can't make them drink it. They can't make shots. But John and LB, I want your take too. I know you guys pay attention to Fears. I would love this pick. If Fears ends up on the Nets, it's not Dylan Harper, but it's a damn good player.
I got something with I'd rather have Fears for sure. But one thing I was gonna say is, because even when Dylan just mentioned that when he says playmaker, he was talking about assists and stuff, and then you had said you thought he was a better playmaker. It's like, I don't. That's not a top measurement for me. Assists. It's a measurement for me how you run the team, and assists are just like a stat. But
especially in college, where you're not surrounded by shot makers. Like Dylan Harper couldn't average 10 assists on Rutgers if there's no way to make 10 shots.
But I know exactly what you mean. And when you guys were discussing that, I was thinking about Halliburton, and I was saying, because to me, he's a basketball player, but he's not really what I would call a good point guard. He does get double doubles quite frequently.
He averages double doubles.
Yeah. So, but I wouldn't really. I know there are guys that don't get as many assists than him that are better playmakers than him. You know what I mean? So when I certain things like that, and then I wanted to ask Dylan, because I've only seen him in video in terms of Fears. I've not seen any of his games, so that's what puts me at a disadvantage. But what I wanted to ask is, are there a couple of guys that he's in range of NBA comps that he's in range of being better than or will never amount to be as good? You know, like say like the guy on Philly.
Yeah, to me, if like you're talking about Jeremiah Fears' ceiling, like I said, I think it's like a combination between a Trae Young and a John Morant. He's got a very good three ball, not to the range and extent that Trae Young could have, but also not as bad as what John Morant's efficiencies are in terms of the three. He can finish at the rim. Again, not as athletic as John Morant, but still a good enough finisher to where he's efficient at the rim. He can pull up from mid range. He has the shot creation ability to create his own shot. And then again, the playmaking. John Morant's a guy that averages like about 6.5 to 8 assists a night. Trae Young averages about 11.5, right? I can kind of see him in that middle ground where he can put up that like 6 to 8 a game, similar to John Morant. So
And we're not
I think in
afraid
terms of feeling.
and we're not afraid to put the ball in his hands like with 10 seconds left going from coast to coast or something, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the
That's
speed to where he
ball.
could do that. I mean, in his first year, do I see him being the final shot? No, because
Oh no,
he
I
would
don't no, I
hopefully
don't
still
mean
have
the
Cam
final
Thomas.
shot
But
taker.
I want to get John's thoughts on
I just
Fears as well. John, I mean, I know you paid attention. You watched a lot of college hoops. If the Nets ended up with Fears and they traded up for him, this happened, how would you feel about this?
Definitely excited. I think Fears, like a lot of you guys have said, I call this kid the lightning bolt. Kind of came out of nowhere, and you take that kid off where he was playing in college. That team is nowhere near where they should be. So Fears is really he took the power into his own hands to make himself a top prospect here. And I think that's something not a lot of people look at. So people say, yeah, Cooper Flag, great prospect, but he was put in position with all types of great players. Whereas with Fears, he took the power into his own hands on a team where not a lot of people expected him to have this type of season that he did. So there's just a lot to be excited about with him. Like he can score on all three levels. I think his defensive upside is way better than Trae Young's. He's a pesky defender, quick with his hands, quick with his feet. Like he definitely, when he's locked in, could definitely give some players some troubles on the defensive side. And just offensively, can score in a variety of ways, pick and lob threat. Like he has all the characteristics you're looking for an exciting young point guard. And those people look at the age and go, "Wow, this kid can't even drink. Yeah, he looks like 15." But don't not be underestimated. This kid may not look like he has all the skill sets. He really does if you actually have seen him play. And for what Brooklyn needs right now, he could be the perfect type of young point guard that Jordy can develop for the next 4 to 5 years to a top-notch guard. And we really do need that. Like I was kind of torn between him and Derek Queen, but just looking at our other picks and what we could select, if you select Queen, the point guards later on in this draft are not as they're exciting, but they're not as skilled, I would say, as Jeremiah Fears is. So getting a point guard with the lottery pick is way more important because you can draft a big later on with your late pick. So I think that would make a lot more sense for Brooklyn. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'd
there's
be
more
excited with
bigs
Fears if we get
in
him.
the draft, and there's no other guy like Fears in this draft.
Exactly.
So all right,
I
let's
was gonna
get
say
back.
to answer Lou's comment though, it was a 3 spot move up, and it really just depends on who's in front of you, right? You have OKC up next. I'm not sure, uh, if New Orleans would go out of their way to select a guy like Jeremiah Fears because DeJounte Murray tore his Achilles, so you don't know if they're going to go point guard. Um, for me though, with the Pelicans pick, it comes down to two players, for actually 3 players for me: Trey Johnson, Malawak, and Con Kneppel. They are a team that does need a big man horribly, and that's likely the route I'll take. But at the same time, they're looking to move off of CJ McCollum. You have young wings and Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. You still have Zion. Do they want to move Zion? And if they move Zion, does that get you a big man? So to me, it's kind of 50-50, and they do need that scorer that could be a 20, 25 a game type of guy like Trey Johnson. So I'm going to leave this pick up to you guys between one of those 3 players. I think all 3 can go at 6 to the Pelicans. So if you guys want, go around the room. Who would you go if you're the Pelicans? Malawak, Trey Johnson, or Con Kneppel?
I would say Maluak, but I'm torn between the two bigs. I would say Maluak.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say Malawak too. They really do need defensive bigs so badly. And the good thing is you already have Trey Murphy, you got Herb Jones, top-notch defenders. So I think the way for the Pelicans to go about this, if they do trade Zion, you want to become a young, top-notch, young defensive team, because that will eventually attract maybe a star to want to come play with you. So I think Malawak just makes a lot of sense for a team like the Pelicans right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I concur. It's a Malawak sweep. And I think that having him along with what John just said about having the other two forward tandem that could defend. I think that
Right.
this changes their whole outlook, and they definitely put Zion back on the block, and they know CJ is old, so all they're looking for then is a star, and that star might actually end up being like a Trey Young or someone like that. They might end up trading Zion for Trey Young or something, because it's like they need a scoring star, but they won't need. But they'll have a whole interior defense with Molly Walk and with those other guys. So I think.
See, I don't see Trey Young simply because they already have DeJounte Murray. I don't think they want to redo what Atlanta did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about Murray being there.
Yeah, to me, if they're going to trade for a star, it's either going to be a shooting guard or a power forward, because I think they're going to want to figure out. I mean, listen, if you were to package Zion and Herb Jones together, like, you could get something really freaking good back. And real quickly, actually, because I was going to mention this as well. Can you go to trade pick? I already know that you made the pick, but I wanted to see who was at 9 or 10.
Shoot, you package Murray and one of those forwards, man. You might be able, and you have some picks. You might be able to get Giannis.
Yeah.
Wow, that would be something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was almost more so thinking potentially trading back with New Orleans, because you can see here they don't have another first-round pick, but you already made the pick. I think they'll stick and pick. I'm not mad with that. So, yeah, we'll go Malawak at 6. OKC ends up getting the Philly pick. Thank God.
How do I get off of this?
Just click cancel.
Yeah.
I think this is just a blatantly obvious pick. Again, I've kind of went over this before. OKC needs to really start taking their roster construction seriously, rather than continuing to draft high upside guys who, don't play their first years, like Nikola Topic, and guys who take 2 years to actually see minutes, like Cason Wallace. To me, go with the guy that you can plug in and have an immediate impact and immediate fit, and that to me is Con Kneppel. I think it's a perfect fit with OKC. I think he would be by far one of their best floor spacers. And that's something that they need, which is why they were looking into Cam Johnson earlier in the year. So,
let me. You think Kneppel is more plug and play than Trey?
Yeah, especially for what their roster is. SGA is the primary handler and scorer. I don't think Trey Johnson's fit alongside SGA makes sense at all. To me, if you can have an eventual starting 5 that consists of SGA, Kneppel, Jalen Williams, Chet, and a big man, I think that's a really good system that they'd be building there.
Right, and they already have Jalen Williams as well. Like, OKC, honestly, like, they're the one team in the draft that you really like. They don't really need a lot of these guys. They need to start thinking about moving pieces and trying to still remain a championship team. I'd be surprised if they actually draft a lot in this draft. They have to move some pieces around. So whoever they draft, they could probably try to trade with a team to get off the prospect and get more movable contracts or something like that.
All right, we are up to the Hornets at 8. This is our pick that they received.
Yeah, to me, this is now a bit of a tough situation because they missed out on Malawak. But I also think that this is a solid fit for them, simply because it's a different version of the big man position that they don't currently have. I do think that they're going to be forced into keeping Mark Williams because of his failed physicals with the Lakers trade. I don't really see many teams willing to take a risk on him, especially for the price range of what the Lakers originally offered. So I don't think Charlotte's going to want to sell short on him, but I do think they need to back up big, especially for when Mark Williams inevitably goes down every season. So for me, yeah, go Derek Queen here to Charlotte. I think it's a really good fit. I think it could be the long-term piece. And he's going to have really stellar minutes as the backup 5 over there to start his career.
That'd be a steal for them. Like, Queen could definitely. Queen, Brandon, what's the guy they got over there, the forward, Brandon Williams? What's his name?
Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller. They got Brandon Miller, Derek Queen, LaMelo Ball. Like, there's your core right there. Like, that could be. That'd be a steal for the Hornets.
Yeah, no, they definitely have a solid rotation. I mean, you would have to think that they end up moving Miller to the 2, Bridges to the 3. I'm not sure who they would want to have at the 4, whether it be Grant Williams, Tejan Saloon, and then, of course, Mark Williams with guys coming off the bench. So I definitely think that's a nice young core that they could be building and potentially in line to be the next team for a star.
This is exciting. This Trey Johnson, San Antonio is 9. Trey Johnson is still on the board. Does he jump on I-35 and just travel an hour south?
I think he does. I think that's the route that we're probably going to take. I mean, I'm looking at my big board here. To me, if you are actually, I may have him fall here because there's a certain player on the board who I don't think passes up on the top 10. Who's the next team up?
Hang on. Number 10 is Portland.
Okay, never mind. I can 1000% see this guy going there. So yeah, go Trey Johnson to San Antonio. To me, I personally don't think it's the greatest fit because they already have Castle and Fox. But having a microwave scorer off the bench is definitely something that would be very beneficial.
Would this mean the end of Keldon Johnson? Would Keldon Johnson shouldn't be traded if this was to happen?
I mean, realistically, this could just be a pick to, make a move on Kevin Durant in the offseason. If you package up Keldon Johnson, Vassell, and Trey Johnson, who knows what they're wanting in Phoenix. So
I'm not the biggest Trey Johnson fan. Like, I like him, but like he's a blunt object, right? Like we started to talk about, like he's a 6'6" Cam Thomas. He can do three things: score, and that's it. There's no. He's a better ball handler than Cam Thomas and things like that, but he's a scorer, and I don't like. Can he even play where he has to be part of the offense? With the offense, you know what I'm saying? He's always played where he is the offense. Mm-hmm. Can he play in a system where he's just a part of the offense? I don't know. I don't love, and I know people are gonna say that's blasphemy because he's a Longhorn, but I don't want the Nets to draft him, and I'm not that high on him. I'm sure he can average 20 in the NBA, but it's like one of those things. How many shots is he gonna take? You're gonna have to create a whole offense around him. Is he that good of a scorer where he warrants building a whole offense around him, or is he just going to score a bunch of points on a bad team? I don't really love Trey Johnson.
I got a question for Dylan. It's about who made the number 4 pick in this simulator. It was Sacramento, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we'd have to make a trade with Sacramento, like that Sacramento might actually take Fears? To replace
I don't think so because they already have Devin Carter and Malik Monk.
You think they believe in him that much?
What's up?
You think they believe in Carter that much?
I mean, he was a lottery pick last year. So
yeah, that was in last year's lottery. This guy is a lottery pick in the one of the best drafts.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think I think they're going to go with the best available just because.
The reason I'm asking is because is there a scenario where we could kind of like offer the same thing to them in case we think Fears is going to get snatched up, No,
I don't think. I think if Ace is on the board, they would go Ace. I don't see them passing him up. And the reason for that is because they are kind of in that like retool mode where they are still good enough to be a play-in team and compete. So to me, they would want to go with the highest upside and really try to develop him into a superstar. So I think Ace makes a ton of sense there if it was Sacramento.
And we know Ace doesn't really make sense with Charlotte because
of Brandon Miller.
Because of Brandon Miller, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's why Edgecombe stock could rise up because there's some teams that they probably would want to get Ace, but it's like if I already have a power forward with an Ingram or Brandon Miller, what's the point? So I think that's another reason why Edgecombe is like in a great position right now because he just might go over Ace because of need as opposed to long-term, development or something like that.
All right, let's get back to Portland. Now, this is an interesting pick. Portland's a team on the rise. Anthony Simons will probably be gone next year. Where would Portland go? This is an interesting pick.
Yeah, I think I think this is the perfect fit and the perfect pick for them. I go Colin Murray Boyles. He is by far one of the best defensive players in this draft class. He's a bully down low in the paint offensively. He still needs some improvement in his three-point shooting. But in terms of what they currently have, I mean, again, if you're expecting Anthony Simons to be traded, you would have a starting 5 that consists of Scoot, Shaedon Sharpe, Denny Avila, potentially Colin Murray Boyles, and then Donovan Clingan. I think that's something in terms of youth that is really exciting for them and something that they can definitely begin to build around very, very quickly. So Colin Murray Boyles to me is a perfect fit for them.
Yeah, I was looking at the roster you had there, and I was like, man, this guy seems like he signed that contract like 4 years ago or something. The Grant the grandson. What is his name?
Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, it's like, man, he's still on that same track. Seems
Yeah,
like
I
it's
know.
been like that for a while, but now it should be more attractive to teams because he's probably got less years on it now, right?
Yeah, it's been like 2 or 3 years. He should only have like either next year expiring or maybe 2 years left.
And so that might be very attractive to some teams who just want a scorer and an expiring contract.
Yeah.
Right, and they could get more assets. Like that actually was looking so bad. Now it's like they got a younger core that's starting to play well. Now they have this thing which get them more capital, eventually make bigger moves. Like Portland, man, they're in a better position than the Nets are right now. Like, that's bad.
The thing is, every time we look on their salary cap, Gary, it's like all of their guys that make over 25 or more, they could actually play.
Yeah, no, ours can't. Ours are useless people. No, LBL is on the mark with that one.
That's nasty, but
Our
true.
guys making over 25 million is Nick Claxton and Ben Simmons. Before anyway. All right. Number 11, Houston.
Yeah, again, clear and obvious pick for me here. Kasparas Yakachonis, they kind of need a lead guard. Who knows what the package for Kevin Durant looks like? I still have the Rockets as the favorite to get him. You would have to expect Reed Shepherd is in that, Cam Whitmore, potentially either one of Jalen Green or both of Dylan Brooks and Jabari Smith. So to me, finding that lead point guard is going to be crucial for them. If Murray Boyles was available here, I would probably take him just because of the defensive upside that he could put alongside KD and Sengun. But I still think the point guard position is their main focus, as Reed Shepherd really hasn't seen the minutes that they were thinking as the number 3 pick. And if he can net you Kevin Durant, then why not replace him with a 6'6" guy who could give you 15, 5, and 5 a game like he did in college? So I think Yakachonis is a really good fit there for them at 11.
All right, for sure. Next up, we have Miami.
I don't
at 12.
see him playing as a point guard in the NBA though. I feel like he's just a connector, you know. I feel like he's too slow to play point guard on a regular basis in the NBA.
I mean, if you look at guys like Giddey and Luka, can they really get much slower than that?
That's a good point.
But Luka,
I mean, they practically walk up and down the floor.
Luka's
like,
a prodigy. So
in terms of the playmaking aspect, he has in the conference play and in the tournament, he had a little bit of an issue with his assist to turnover ratio, but he has good vision. I think it'll be improved upon, especially under Ime Udoka. So I think that he could be the lead guard.
So we'll see.
All right. Miami was going with who?
Let's see. On my big board, I mean, I think they go point guard. There's really no
running
wings
low on
here.
point guards is a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the Jace Richardson pick.
Yeah.
I just think he fits very well alongside a guy like Tyler Hero. You could kind of interchange whether you want it to be Igor or Jace Richardson, but the way that Richardson's stock has risen, I can definitely see him being a Miami caliber player. He's got great defense for his size. He's athletic for his size. He can make very well. He kind of reminds me a lot of a CJ McCollum-like player. So to me, running him at the 1 with Hero at your 2, I think that's definitely a solid front court for you or backcourt for them to build around.
All right. Next up is the Chicago Bulls. They're perpetually in hell too.
Yeah.
What is Chicago? I mean, just best player available here, or I don't know what Chicago's big plan is. What does Chicago do here at 13? It's 13.
Yeah,
13,
I mean, you miss out on Yakachonis, you miss out on Murray Boyles, you miss out on both of the big men. I think this would be hell for them. To me, I think you need to kind of go with the best available fit in terms of upside as well. Giddey is due $30+ million this offseason. I don't see them bringing him back. I think you got to go Igor Demon here to end off that point guard debate on who's going to be there next season.
Yeah, I think that's
I wonder
right.
with them if they. I wonder with them if they actually like extend the tank and I don't really see Billy Donovan surviving the whole summer. But
I'm surprised the Bulls are as competitive as they are, and they think that the playing is good right now. Like they should have done this 3 years ago. They waited until this year to finally make a rebuild move, and now you have Josh Giddey bumping up stats on a bad team, and they're going, "Look at this Bulls team, man! They got a young core. They're going to be something." I'm like, you should have been mind focused on getting a top 5 pick, and now you're stuck with what, the 13th or 14th pick? That's horrible. That's just not a good way to go about it. They're in trouble.
Next up is the Dallas Mavericks, a team looking to tank and move their franchise to Vegas.
Cha-ching!
This is like I don't know. Like who do they pick here? They pick the worst guy
to me,
available?
this is where I see a trade as well. If you can pop that up
Okay.
real quick.
Yeah.
I think this is where I may have Utah move up simply because they have the assets to do so. Where is Utah? Oh, they're at 21 now. Who's in the 15 through 21 range?
San Antonio, Orlando, Minnesota.
Oh, Washington is up there. Yeah,
Brooklyn.
go Washington.
No,
okay. Go Washington. I think this is where Washington moves up. Give them 18 and 40. For hypothetical reasons, you can say maybe they get an additional heavily protected first-round pick. But I think for a 4-spot move up, this is really good for them. I'm not sure where Washington's additional 2 second-round picks went because they were supposed to have 3. So I don't know if they're protected or not. But yeah, so I like this move up for them. They already drafted Dylan Harper. So let's have them move up here. And with the last pick in the lottery, I'm going to have them go.
Now,
let's see. Based on my big board, I mean, they went Harper. So they kind of need a wing.
But now for some of these teams, I mean, they are keeping one eye open for next year's draft too, right? So
yeah. To me, go Asa Newell here. I think this is a really good fit to put.
That's
alongside.
my guy. I'm a Newell fan. This is my guy.
Yeah, I think this is a good fit. Some people have him projected in the late lottery. Some have him projected in that like 16 through 20 range.
Do I like him better than Claxton? I mean, he's more of a 4, right? I know he's the same height, but I like anyone better than Nick Claxton at $27 million.
Yo, LB, I don't know if you saw this. We did a show where somebody did the financial optics of what Claxton's offense is, and get this: Claxton's offense this year, he's making $27 million, is the equivalent of $400,000. Is the equivalent of a player on a 2-way contract. Yeah. Come on, it doesn't get any worse than that. It really doesn't. Oh.
But he's not like, he's just no good. Like, he's not a good rebounder. He's not a good shot blocker anymore. He's got no offensive game. He can't defend 5s. He gets big boyed all the time. There's just nothing that good about him. And I'm not trying to downplay him because I do want to trade him. And I'm just like, yeah. Let's get a first round pick for him. But like, there's nothing that good about him. Like, I'm tired of watching him.
Who do we got up next? San Antonio. All right, so trade. Here we go. This is going to be where Brooklyn moves up. I'm actually going to make the deal much more simplistic. We're going to do the Nets.
So.
We're going to do pick 36 and Cam Johnson for 15. I think that straight up works, especially if you're not having San Antonio include a future first. Cam Johnson's worth a first. They're moving back in a draft for a second. They'll have 2 seconds now. I think that makes a ton of sense.
What pick is this? 15. Yeah.
15.
And we take on Harrison Barnes' contract as well, or how would you do that?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay, that works. That could work.
So for me, if you're looking,
we're taking
at 15,
a big hit. All right, I know who I want. Let's see what Dylan says.
Real quickly, again, go to trade pick. We're not trading it, but I want to see who's within this range to make sure I'm making the right pick here, because there definitely could be a team or two that could steal this one other guy.
Orlando, Minnesota, Dallas.
And then we're up after Dallas. Okay, so yeah, I see them both being there. Yeah, I think with this pick, especially if you're moving up, you're looking at upside. For me on my board, I currently have outside of the lottery Nolan Traore, Thomas Sorber, Ben Seraph, Liam McNeely. To me, again, like I said, you're looking at upside. And for that, I would say go Liam McNeely here at 15.
What? McNeely?
Yeah, go Liam McNeely at 15. I think that he's previously been projected as a top 10 pick. He dropped down into the late lottery, now pretty much outside of the lottery in terms of my big boards. But I think if you can get him at 15, this is a really solid upside pick. He's one of the better three-point shooters in this year's class as well. Dealt with a little bit of injury and efficiency issues at UConn, but UConn also didn't look anywhere near to what they've been in the past under Dan Hurley. So I think under Jordy, it's a really good fit, somebody that you could develop into one of the better 3-and-D caliber players. He kind of reminds me a lot of Corey Kispert. So for me at 15, I think that's good value for him.
I would take Rasheed Fleming. If Rasheed Fleming's on the board, man, that guy is a freaking Iron Man type guy.
Yeah,
that guy
those projections aren't up to date. I mean, if you look at Bleacher Report and CBS's latest mock drafts, they have Fleming around 22 through 27. So
Fleming's he's been a solid wing, man. He really could be a solid piece for us. Let's remember, if we don't get an ace or Cooper Flag, you definitely want to address the wing. And like you said, we didn't trade the Bucks picks away, right? We still had the Bucks pick to get a big, but you definitely want to get a wing. And I think if you get Rasheed Fleming and someone gets sold with your Bucks pick, man, we just ran the gauntlet right there. We got Fears, we got Rasheed Fleming, and we got Thomas Sorber. I mean, Dylan, like that's running a gambit right there. Whereas with McNeely, I don't know if I would go McNeely, man, if Rasheed Fleming's still on the board. That's just me.
I would take Fleming, but
Fleming is way too high for 15.
What was that?
I said it's just way too high for Fleming at 15. I mean,
and McNeely
projected 25.
He's going to go eventually. Like there's upside. I don't love McNeely, but he's not going to fall much further than 15.
Minnesota would have taken him. Miami would have taken him at 20. It's just, again, when you're looking at the current construction of the team, you just drafted your point guard. If you're trading your wing, you probably want to go with a high upside wing and replacement. McNeely at 6'7" with the caliber of 3-point shooting that he could bring, I think it's something that you could develop very nicely. And remember, this is also an organization that's very high on Con Kneppel right now. What makes you think they're not going to want to go out and grab who could be the second highest upside perimeter shooter in this draft class? So, again, keeping it realistic, I think if it's at 15, it's a really good fit. I would not take him in the lottery. I would not take him if he was available there at 18 for us, just straight up, unless if you had a backup plan, which for this case, you move up to grab him and you're just 2-3 picks away from selecting again. So I think long-term fit-wise, it could be something intriguing. But yeah, that's kind of just my take on it.
All right, we move to our.
I haven't seen Fears. I haven't seen the forward Fleming. See, and that's the one thing I keep getting on John about is you talk with so much conviction for guys who you haven't seen.
Have you seen his stat line? 14.7 points, 8.5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, shooting 39% from 3.
I don't care about stats. I just care about.
Have you seen he has a 7'5" wingspan.
No, Fleming's an incredible player, but the problem is he's already a junior. And
that's not going to change him for a year.
In the NBA, when you look at draft talent, 9 times out of 10, a team is going to select a younger player, which allows those older players to fall in the draft. There's reasons why you see CBS, Bleacher Report, other guys on YouTube who do mock drafts. There's a reason why you're starting to see Fleming fall to that 20 through 27 range. Same thing for Yaxel Lendeborg. Same thing for Nick Clifford. Nick Clifford was going as high as 14 through 16 just a month ago, and now he's back down to those 20 through 30 range. When you see the guys' ages, their upside tends to fall because they're not going to develop as much in the NBA simply because they've already played 4 years, 3 years in college. So that's the only reason why I have Fleming falling. The rankings that you see currently on the screen have not been updated by No Ceilings in over 3 months. So you see Fleming at 13 and think it's a good available option, but in reality, he's not likely to go in the top 20.
Here's my reality. 7'5" wingspan, 240-pound frame. He was one of the only players in college basketball to have 60 dunks and 43 pointers. Listen, I understand because of he's a junior that's going to hurt his stock a little bit, but once he gets that draft combine, you're going to see who really is up to date on where this ranking could fall. So I'm not going to count Rasheed Fleming out of cracking top 20 potentially.
Who do we take at 16? Who do we take?
20 talent, yes. Will teams want to risk drafting somebody older with maybe not as much upside? Potentially not. We'll see. But
is Rasheed Fleming better than half the team we got right now? I think there's a good argument you can make there. But I can agree why you choose Lee McNeely to a certain degree. But Fleming, man, if he's available, I definitely want to consider him at that point, regardless if he's a junior or not.
Well, I'm just biased because these guys might be way better than I thought, but I like to be able to see guys play. Then I can say, okay, this and that. And see, after I saw McNeely, I guess he got hurt early in the season. But when I saw him after he came back, and I said, man, this guy's just a certified hooper, and he's got one of the best attributes I like about McNeely, besides that he can shoot, is he's got that the same thing that Cooper's got. He's got the what do you call it? A battery in them. That's what it is. They don't. They always play hard. And that's really something that I like about McNeely.
Yeah.
I just
All
want
right.
this team to get bigger and
What is
stronger.
this?
That's all.
16, Orlando.
Can you
Yeah.
pop the comment off the screen? I just can't see the screen too well.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Orlando at 16. They selected. This is their first selection. Okay. To me, again, they need a guy that can space the floor with upside, and that to me is Noah Sengwu from France. So he really picked up his draft stock over the last 2 months overseas, and to me, it's just a really good fit. They need that wing off of the bench that could space the floor. This entire draft for Orlando should be focused on guys who can space the floor and shoot the three, because they're the worst three-point shooting team in basketball. So Sengwu at 6, there's talks about him being a potential lottery pick, but I like that fit
He's
for him
so
there at
young.
16.
He's so young that you could see, that, he hasn't even learned how to play basketball yet. I mean, he's still growing into his body too.
Yeah.
At 17 with Minnesota, I see two possibilities here. Let's see what.
And I'm going to pick the third one for you. I'm going to do a trade up here. I'm going to have the Charlotte Hornets move up. They have picked 25, 33, and 34. We're going to give Minnesota 25 and 33 to move up. Now, of course, Charlotte could add in future seconds, a protected first, whatever the case may be. But I really like the fit here for them here at, 18?
17.
17, yeah. Go Ben Seraph here. 6'6" guard. He can play the 1. He can play the 2. I think it's a really nice fit next to LaMelo, and for, again, when LaMelo eventually gets hurt, because it's just an every year annual thing. I think Ben Seraph there could really help them out. And again, the main needs for Charlotte this year is the 2 guard and the center position. So knocking out Derek Queen and Ben Seraph, I think that's a really good draft for them, especially still having an early second-round pick later in the draft.
All right, we are on to 18, right? 18, which is Dallas, who got swapped with Washington. So we got Dallas picking at 18. I don't have any idea what Dallas is even thinking. Kyrie's obviously out for at least the first half of the season. They have Anthony Davis. I don't know what happens. Klay Thompson's locked up for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I believe he has 2 more years left on his deal.
They got talent. PJ Washington. They got bigs. Daniel Gafford, AD, and Lively. They got bigs. I don't know.
Yeah, I think with this pick they need to save their ass a bit. I think they need to make sure that if Kyrie decides to opt out and leave because of the Luka handling situation, I think they need to go and grab their long-term point guard. Not to mention Kyrie's kind of moved himself to a 2 guard over the years, so I think adding a good point guard is key here, and that's going to be Nolan Traore out of France, a previous top 5 projected pick. We'll have him going here to Dallas. I think this is just a really good fit, especially with Kyrie likely to be out at the start of the season. I think this is really a good position for him to be in, especially on a team that is deep enough to still contend in the West, maybe not in the top 6, but as a play-in team, it's still going to give him extra experience in those tougher games. And I think he'll really start to fill out his the rest of his game that he wasn't able to kind of progress overseas.
19, it's our final pick of the first round, correct? Yes. Yeah.
I believe we still have 27, if I'm not mistaken. If you click on trade pick. Oh, maybe we did. Here, click on trade pick. Maybe we did. I thought I kept 20.
No, we got. Okay.
Yeah, because I did Cam Johnson at 36. Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So at 19, again, I think this pick is as clear as day. Thomas Sorber.
Yeah.
Again, filling out the youth to this team, going young, high upside positional needs. Again, you have Noah Clowney, if he's available at 27, you take him, and I'm talking about Rasheer Fleming. But in terms of what you really need long term, you still need a high upside center. So again, if your first 3 picks in the top 20 are 3 18-year-old high upside players, I think you've nailed it. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Liam McNeely, but there still is a level to his game progression wise that could be much better than what he was in college. And if you are moving on from Cam Johnson, again, I think it's just a really solid replacement. This will give guys like McNeely, Derek Queen, Zaire Williams, they'll give those guys a little bit more minutes that Cam Johnson was kind of taking up. So if you can land Sorber at 19, which I do believe is a really fair range for him, especially coming off of a foot surgery injury that ended his season, I think that this could either be your Nick Claxton or Day'Ron Sharpe replacement, depending on how they want to move forward this offseason. Again, to me, I would bring back Sharpe for cheap and use him as your starting 5 to allow Sorber to play off the bench. But realistically, they're probably just going to let Sharpe go, keep Claxton as a trade piece, and have Sorber as the backup 5.
Wait a minute. He's coming off of foot surgery?
Yes,
Sean will sign him.
No, listen,
for sure. That's his guy.
Thomas Sorber's a very
to
talented
me,
young big, excellent rebounder. He has a mid-range shot to his game. Some people see a young Bam Adebayo. I see definitely a future replacement or center position with Thomas Sorber. And you think about it, if you do draft Fears, this would be the perfect guy to get with your Bucks pick. A Fears and Sorber combination is definitely something I'd want to see in a starting lineup for a young rebuilding Nets team. So, and we could trade Claxton this summer. Whew, we're good business there. But if he lets Day'Ron go without a signing trade at the very least, that's just horrible, man. Like, and what can we expect at that point with Sean Marks? He likes to make weird decisions.
You know what's killing me is every game that I try to watch 2 Georgetown games, and then he didn't play in either one, and it was like he got injured or whatever, so I missed him. And I see Danny Wolf on here, and I've seen him play about 4 or 5 times. It's frustrating for me not having seen the guys play. I saw Nick Clifford, and I wasn't really that impressed when I saw him play. But
to me, Sorber is a player that actually may have more upside than Derek Queen. If you look at their games, they're very similar offensively. Queen being the better playmaker out of the post, but when you look at the defensive upside, Sorber absolutely clears him. So in terms of just being a two-way big man, I think Sorber has the higher upside than Queen, which is why if you can get him at 19, that is a no-brainer. You take that pick and you run every single time.
Okie.
All right. So we have one more pick. We'll do the full assessment after we take 27. All right. So let's move on here to where we at 20 with Miami back on the clock. They already take Jace Richardson out of Michigan State.
This is a tough pick because
it
says that, and this is where I tend to not agree with some of these websites. It says their biggest need right now is power forward and center. If you look at their roster, they have Kel'el Ware and Bam Adebayo. I don't think that's really their biggest needs. To me, I really like the fit of just this player specifically, which is Will Riley out of Illinois. I think that this is just one of those, there's certain players that you look at in each sport, right? Like when you look at the Eagles draft every year, you kind of just know who they're going with because they do the same shit every year. It's kind of similar with Miami. They have a certain mold to the player that they like. And to me, Will Riley is a perfect fit alongside Jace Richardson, Hero, Kel'el Ware, and Bam Adebayo for the future. So I like the pick there. A floor spacer, kind of reminds me of Cam Johnson and Trey Murphy if they were to combine their games. Less athletic than Trey Murphy, but still versatile in terms of being able to put the ball on the floor and create his own shot. And then again, as a perimeter shooter, reminds me of Cam Johnson. So I like the upside with him there. And at 20, 21, I think that's a really good landing spot for him, especially with the way that he rose his stock in the tournament play and during conference play. So I think that's a good spot for him.
Hey, I got a question since we were taking Sorber, right? I have seen Broom play. Is Sorber better than Broom?
By far. The problem is, again,
I know the age.
Yeah, when you put 22, 23, and 24-year-olds up against 18-year-olds, of course the older guys are going to look better. But in terms of upside in the NBA, 9 times out of 10, a senior is not going to be a better player in the NBA than a freshman. when you look at their 5 years, look 5 years of when they were drafted, right? Broom will be 28, 29 around that range. Sorber's going to be 22, 23. I think it's just
I mean,
in terms of
if he
upside and
becomes as
development.
good, if he becomes as good as at 23 as Broom is now at 23, I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sorber is better defensively. Maybe not as physical in terms of rebounding, but he's also 6'10", 250, Sorber. So he's got the upside to be much better. But again, when you're comparing 18-year-old strength to 23-year-old strength, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
So we are back with Utah at 21. They got Cooper Flagg got 1.
Yeah, this is kind of a rough range because a lot of the younger guys are off the board already.
Do they go with the old white boy drafts and take Danny Wolf?
The funny part is I was actually thinking that. The only problem to me is I wanted to drop Wolf a little bit more because I really like his fit in Indiana, but there's really not many other options here that they could go with. I mean, do they go with the all white boy draft and go Hugo Gonzalez? Like they could. I mean, what are they at right now? 21. I think that's a bit high for Hugo. On my big board, I have him projected 31. But yeah, guys like Will Riley, Asengwu, McNeely, Seraph, Traore, they're all gone, and those are usually players that I have with Utah. Yeah, I mean, go Danny Wolf. You got to kind of make it realistic, and if there's not many options for them available, they still have to re-sign Walker Kessler. Who knows if he's traded or not? I know both sides have kind of said they want to stay with one another, but it's an insurance pick, so I don't see why not. I couldn't even tell you who their backup 5 is, and no, I don't consider John Collins to be a backup 5, so I think Wolf is a solid pick for them there.
22, we moved to Indiana.
Yeah, this is, again, we're just kind of moving away from a lot of the younger talent now that we're getting to contending teams. They're kind of in a shitty position with this pick as well because currently on my big board, everybody in the top 22 is gone. So from 23 moving down, I have Yaxel Lendeborg, Nick Clifford, Rasheer Fleming, Walter Clayton, Janai Broom. A lot of veteran caliber players, but at the same time, positions that they really don't need. So I think I'm going to do a trade here potentially. I'm not sure with who. So if you want to click on there. Because realistically, Indiana has so much to their team already. Like they have Benedict Mathurin, they have TJ McConnell, Andrew Nembhard, they have Aaron Nesmith, Tyrese Halliburton. They have to bring back Miles Turner. So like to me, they would probably want to add additional draft compensation for a future draft class to be able to put themselves in the position to make a move on a full-time center if they miss out on Miles Turner in free agency. I mean, I could see.
Or are they thinking about, will they think about in the summer of moving Siakam?
No, they're thinking of finding ways to try to keep Turner. Look at Benedict Mathurin and this guy, Jerice Walker. I think Walker lately started to play well, but it doesn't seem like his role is still set in stone. So I think the Pacers, they might try to move off of Walker or Mathurin so they can bring back Turner. Because like Dylan said, they want to be in contention. They're not looking to just retool, rebuild, whatever that is. They're looking to be a legit team sooner or later.
I don't see them being with that current roster. I don't see them being any more than a middling team for a long time.
I agree with LBL. I mean, but the Pacers are they're not gonna get big time free agents to come to that market. I mean, middling they've been good for 30 years, right? But they've never been able to go over the top. They've never been able to win a championship because it's who's signing in Indiana,
Yeah, they have to get that person through a trade. But that's why I was thinking maybe a team that thinks they're close, by the summer might say, well, we'll take Siakam as our 4 if he's the missing piece or something like that, and then Halliburton's still young enough that they could start over,
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't think Halliburton's that guy, right? Like I don't think
he is
dude.
Either.
Yeah,
I don't think he is.
Go
would
San Antonio moving up here.
San Antonio at 36.
Yeah, we're gonna give them 36, and then we're just gonna say a future first-round pick. We'll say like top 5, top 8
Okay.
protected. I just don't like any of the fits. I think they can get a guy at 36. They also need to stay a little bit cheaper to try and bring back Miles Turner if they are going to bring him back. So,
I
you
feel
know,
like most of the second round is just gonna be a lot of. I feel like the NBA. This is a draft that will have a lot of big men drafted in it. And I don't care if they're 23, 24. They just feel like it's cheaper. It's cheaper for the NBA to pay all these big guys less money than to start cutting some guys.
yeah,
So
and I know I said that I wasn't going to take players who are in the transfer portal, but I don't see him staying in college. He would be an idiot to do so. So
You
with
said
San Antonio's
Jackson?
pick, go Yaxel Lendeborg. I cannot see
Axel.
him not being in the draft. It wouldn't sit right with me him not going this year. So Yaxel Lendeborg, this is a perfect fit for them, especially after moving back, getting Cam Johnson. You now add Trey Johnson and Yaxel Lendeborg. I think that's a really good kind of backup plan if they were to miss out on Kevin Durant, especially with the pieces that they would still have left over to move for a star when the time comes, right? I mean, if you miss out on KD and you get Cam Johnson, you're talking about a rotation that consists of De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochan, Wemby, and then you now add Cam Johnson, Yaxel Lendeborg, and Trey Johnson. I think that's a really good rotation for them to have heading into next season. It kind of dips in between the middle ground of having high upside youth with win now players as well. So I think that would
John,
be good for them.
John, it's almost the
20
same as when Cam. It's almost the same as when Cam Johnson replaced KD for us, except for the
Oh my
Wemby.
god. Yo, he matched the Kevin Durant stat line, and Sean said, "You're a leader, Cam Johnson." Oh my god. Like, come on, come on.
23, we go back to Orlando. They took Noah Sengwe at 16. Who is Orlando taking at 23?
I don't agree with the pick. I'm not high on players who are, again, seniors who raise their stock come March Madness. Go Walter Clayton here. I
Oh,
know
I thought we were
Nets.
going to Clifford here. Okay.
Yeah, no, go Walter Clayton. People are having strokes about
Now
him
he's
and
about
thinking that he's
24
God's
now, right?
gift, but again, it's a senior who had a really good March
Yeah.
Madness. To me,
But
those
where is
things
he?
don't mean much.
Is he even on this? Where is he? You see him?
I think he's in the
It's in
50s
the
on this.
40s.
Oh, is he that low? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it should be like 52, 53, or 54.
There he
48.
is, 48.
48.
Everybody just passed
Okay.
me the list, Walter Clayton.
I actually like Xavier Lee.
He's in the
He's
transfer
going
portal.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, there's talks about him going to St.
coming
John's
to
or
St.
Duke.
John's?
St. John's or Duke are the two
That-
teams that he's
that-
looking at.
Yeah.
He's a pretty
All
good
right.
point guard.
He is.
24.
With
OKC.
Yeah,
They've
this
already
is
taken Kneppel at 7. This team is getting an embarrassment of riches. What do they do at 24? Fleming?
I think they need some size.
I was gonna say I actually can see them going Janai Broom here.
Okay.
I think that they need a backup big man. We've kind of been over this, especially with the contract extensions of SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet soon to come. They're going to be in a really rough position financially. So I do think Isaiah Hartenstein will get moved at some point, but maybe not this year. I think they're going to still contend next year. So Janai Broom is a backup big, though, to come off the bench. I think that's really helpful, especially for, again, when Chet probably gets hurt because he's 150 pounds at 7'2", and it never works out. So I like the Janai Broom fit there for them.
25, we moved to Minnesota. This is their first pick in the draft. This is a trade they made with the Hornets.
Yeah, I like Nick Clifford here. I like
Are
Nick
we
Clifford here a
poaching
lot.
Reed from them?
I don't know about that one.
No, I think they're going to still try and figure out a way to bring him back. But I like the Nick Clifford fit here. Again, they're a team that's kind of in win now mode and didn't really do it successfully this year. These are the types of teams that I see taking seniors and juniors who are ready to go. So I think that's an immediate plug-in and fit type of guy. And at 6'6", he can play the 1, 2, and 3. Very solid defender, very good playmaker, very good rebounder for his size. and can score from all three levels of the floor. So I think that's a really good fit for them at 25.
We moved to 26 to Atlanta. With the 26th pick, the Hawks are going to take.
Who did they go with first?
This is their first pick, is it not?
Oh shit! Yeah, they're. Oh wait, is their pick protected?
Sacramento.
Protected
And remember, it's Sacramento, and they picked 4 in this.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so they got shafted. Damn. Wow, that sucks. Oh my god. Man, that's a rough spot. I mean, they definitely don't go Rasheer Fleming because they have Jalen Johnson. They have Zachariah Rishashar. They have Onyeka Okongwu. There's really no high upside point guards here.
No.
Cam Jones is a scorer.
Yeah,
Ian Jackson's a 1 or a 2.
He's a
Ian
2.
Jackson's
really.
not even going in this draft.
Yeah, I hope he's coming to St. John's.
Is he going back to college?
He's in the portal.
He's in the portal.
Yeah, he's in the portal.
So,
damn. I mean, this sucks for them. This is a horrible fucking spot. If they, I mean, they're probably not going to miss out on that Kings pick. But in this scenario, if they actually did, they'd be fucked. Go Hugo Gonzalez here. It's not like the best fit.
yeah, it's
but
not a great spot.
Yeah, but you kind of just have to go with the upside. The Nets at 27. This is where I'll take Rasheer Fleming, and the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm just aligning this pick with what Bleacher Report put out. Again, if you are able to find a way to draft Jeremiah Fears, Rasheer Fleming, Sorber, and Liam McNeely, I think that's a home run of a draft. You can interchange McNeely and Noah Sengu. I saw that comment earlier. But yeah, I think that's a great draft, especially being able to move off of Cam Johnson while not having to give up any additional first-round picks. I think that's really good movement in terms of the trades that you were able to make, right? You gave up 8 and 25 to move up to 5. You gave up 36 and Cam Johnson to move up to 15. I think that's really good movement where you're still able to keep your additional first-round picks for the next couple of years. You know, maybe does Brooklyn look to move Nick Claxton at the deadline for a 2026 first? We'll see. But I definitely think there needs to be a way that they add an additional 2026 first-round pick from somebody. Even if it's a late first round, you kind of just want to have the flexibility.
Let me get everyone's take on if this was our draft. Fears at 5, McNeely at 15, Fleming at 27, and then it was Sorber at 19. So we got Sorber, Fleming, McNeely, and Fears. It's a lot. It's a lot of talent in the first round. I like it. You know, I don't think Fears is really good. I don't think you've changed your franchise, the direction of your franchise with this draft like we had originally hoped going into the season. We got Fears, which I like a lot. But what are yours, John, LBL, and I'll go to Dylan last. What are your kind of thoughts on if this is reality, if this is what we walked away with, how would you feel about this?
I think you're making the best of a scenario that not a lot of people like. I think everybody wishes they could be a top 5 pick, but, you know, the organization kind of let things a little loosey-goosey this year, and this is kind of like a reality of getting potential Jeremiah Fears. Now, in this scenario we traded up for, I might be excited to get Fears just because he is right now the second best point guard in this draft. Definitely somebody Jordy can mentor, mold, and develop into a top-notch potential breakout prospect piece. Now, the McNeely thing, I think I'll agree to disagree. I would have been fine taking Noah Sengu, you know, with that pick just because of his young upside, what he could bring. I'm not sure McNeely is like that potential guy that we should really invest in, but we'll see what happens there. I think Rasheer Fleming with the 27. I think Rasheer Fleming would be a great addition to our team. Yes, he's a little 2 years older than drafting a freshman, but this guy has the build. He's got 3-point scoring skills. Like, he could be a potential maybe young leader on this team, given what he could bring to what we're trying to look for now. So I'll be happy with Rasheer Fleming if he's a late pick for us. So yeah, this would be a.
We know that Marks likes to play small ball. Can he play the 5 with Clowney at the 4? Dylan, John, your thoughts?
Sorry, repeat that.
Can Fleming play the 5 with Clowney at the 4? No, right? So he's strictly a 4, yeah?
I'm not upset about that. And let's remember, we got Thomas Sorber too, who could be a potential 5 or a potential 4 too as well. Like, getting bigger for this team in this draft, I think definitely should be something Nets have to focus on, especially with later picks. Like, you don't want to just get all small players. And Jeremiah Fears, he can hold his own a bit on the defensive side, but you definitely want to get bigger in this draft. I think we got to get rid of the small ball philosophy that this organization has been trying to permeate in our skulls. And if you get bigger pieces in this draft, then you give Jordy more options for matchups, and then you start having real fights with other teams as opposed to just getting your asses kicked like we've been seeing the last few days. So I would be happy with three out of 4 of these prospects. McNeely's up for me in like the space cloud there, but I'd be happy with Fears, Sorber, and Richard Fleming for sure as being part of this team.
Please put this comment up from Aiken. These are one of those comments that when you type it up, you have to reread it and then ask yourself, do I even watch the game of basketball? He says Fear's stats are awful. And then says one of the prospects where the team's stats are better with him off the court. If you took Jeremiah Fears off of Oklahoma, they would be about 10 games below 500. I watched about 12 or 13 Oklahoma games this year, and he was the impact and difference maker in every single one of those games. He averaged like 18, 4, and 4. I'm not sure how those stats are bad, and his efficiency was over 43% from the field, which is still very good for his age. You also have to remember the kid is 17 when he started college. He should be a senior in high school.
The only game where he looked bad was the regular season finale against Texas, and he stopped shooting, right?
Yeah.
He looked bad against Alabama, too, because one of my people went out to see him, and he said Phylon.
Was that the tournament game?
That was the Phylon locked them up game, you know.
Was that the March Madness game?
No, that was
there was a game in March Madness where he started the first quarter and a half like 0 for 6, but then ended up finishing.
Now
this
is one where one of the guys that follows us, he emo Nets fan. He went to the game, and he said, "Wow, Fears, they really did a number on him."
If the Nets get Fears, I am ecstatic.
The guy averaged 17, 4, and 4 on 43.5% shooting.
But he is a teenager.
That's self-explanatory.
And this is someone who absolutely hates the Oklahoma Sooners. Like, if they got Fears, I'm really happy. I mean, it's not Harper, but if we're not picking it 2 and we get Fears, I am very happy with that.
Well, my thing is, from all accounts, because I've only seen highlights of him, so I don't like to go just on highlights. But by all accounts that I've read and everything, is that he's basically a guy that can't be checked on the court, like one-on-one. And that's something that we kind of need, you know, a guy like that. So, but if you're asking me about all the 4 picks, I'd say Dylan did a better job than I anticipate Sean Marks will do. But
a comp for Fears that I don't hear much that I like is Stephon Marbury. Like, that's how highly I think of him.
Wow, now that's
a pass-first point guard
that's
who can
really high, though.
I'm not saying he's going to get – Marbury was also a point guard. Marbury was great. I'm not – like,
but
Dylan –
he's also not built that strong.
Well, neither was Marbury at that time, right? Marbury – if you remember Marbury at Georgia Tech, he wasn't built the way that he was with the Nets and the Suns.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
He's always been a strong guy, though.
Yeah, he was. But, like –
he's like he and Baron Davis.
Yeah. Well, Baron Davis, yeah. I mean, he was something else. He was, yeah.
But if you're saying that his comp is like he reminds you of Steph Marbury, then that's an uncheckable guy. And once you have that one uncheckable guy out of 5, it just makes the offense flow better as long as he can pass. You know, see the problem with Breezy's Cam Thomas is he thinks he's uncheckable, but then he's also not really adept at playmaking like that, So
Fears is a much better playmaker. Like, Marbury was an excellent passer and an excellent playmaker. He just didn't get credit for it.
Yeah.
Because he played in the ISO era, and people didn't realize that Marbury was a pass-first point guard who could drop 30 on any single night, right? He could shoot a little bit. He could score. He could blow past you. He finished strong, get the N1, right?
So that's why
Fears can do all of those things.
He understands the fundamentals. That's important.
That's what I was asking about. That's why I was asking about the comparison to Maxey, because Maxey isn't really a great point guard, but he's such a great one-on-one player that you have to respect the fact that that gives you an advantage. So like, if Fears is like that, but he's more of a point guard, then all the better, you know.
Absolutely. All right, you want to get back? We're almost through this, and then I got to wrap. John, we'll touch on the other stuff tomorrow. This went on much longer than I expected.
Yeah, we'll do the great stuff and whatever else we want to talk about. We will because we
Yeah.
got a great deal tomorrow, so we could bring up that clip thing.
We'll
I
bring
want to
that
talk
up.
about.
Yeah. And then we can talk about the trade in depth. All right, who are we up to now? Where are we
I
at?
think we're at 28.
Oh, you want to give me your brief synopsis on this trade, for then how you're feeling as a Net fan? If this is what we walk away with, Fleming, Sorber, McNeely, and then Fears at 4. Right? It was 4 or 5. It was 4.
5, yeah.
Five,
Fears at 5,
yeah.
McNeely at 15, Sorber at 19, Fleming at 27. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can interchange McNeely and Esengwu. I'm not incredibly high on McNeely or Esengwu, but if you're looking to make a move up where you can clear Cam Johnson's salary for a young player, I think McNeely and Esengwu have very similar upsides as role players in this league. I think McNeely's the better three-point shooter, which is something that Jory kind of values a little bit more. But we'll see. I definitely don't love it. I don't hate it. But if you are able to land Fears, Sorber, and Fleming, that's a home run. So, yeah, I'm cool with these picks. I think, like I said earlier, the trades that we were able to make are ones that still allow you to have your future draft capital, but also clear cap space for not this offseason, but next offseason. So I'm really happy with this if this is how it went.
All right, so we're up to 28. We got 3 picks up in the first round. We're up to the Blue Bloods now. Boston at 28.
Yeah. Can you pop off the comment again so this way I can see the pick?
Oh,
I can't
yeah,
look at
my bad.
stupidity. Let's see. Boston at 28. I've seen him get mocked here numerous times. I think it's a really good fit. Go Isaiah Evans here. Wait, why is Carter Bryant still here?
That's what I was going to ask. Why is Carter Bryant still here? Is that what we're doing?
Oh, shit. Yeah, we fucked up the whole thing. I thought I had Carter Bryant. Damn. Okay. Yeah. Well. All right. Let's. Wow. Yeah. We really fucked this up.
Well, we got plenty when the season starts.
That would have been the pick at 15 for us. I thought we had him go 14.
You want to put him on Boston?
Well, yeah. I mean, we kind of messed up the whole draft now. Shit. I mean, if you want, do you want to go and scroll down all the way, and I will literally just have us redo this within 10 minutes really quickly? Like if you scroll down to the picks, I can have you undo us to pick 15, and we'll just redo the picks real quick. Like we don't have to explain things. Most of the picks are going to be the same. But,
all right. How do I do that?
All right. Scroll down a little bit to all the picks. I'll just take a go to picks 15 through 27 where we currently are. I'll screenshot those real quick.
I don't know how to get to. Oh, you want to screenshot it real quick?
Yeah, I'm just gonna screenshot it so this way we can fix that. Because yeah, if Carter Bryant was there at 15, then he was the obvious choice. That's who I would have went with. Okay, scroll up a little bit. All right, I should have all of them. Let me make sure. Yeah, because that's a clear mistake on my end. All right, so I have 15 through 17, 23 through 27, and then I have 19 through 22. Okay, and Troy Orey was 18, so I remember that one. All right, so yeah, if you go all the way up to the top, click undo pick until you get to 15.
Where's undo pick? Undo pick.
Yeah, right. If you just go back to 15, I'll get this done for you quick. Yeah, most of the picks are going to be the same. It's just that one is definitely a huge mess up.
All right.
Because you know what the problem is because I'm looking at my big board on my end, so I'm thinking Carter Bryant was already taken. Yeah, at 15, go Carter Bryant. That is by far the clear and obvious choice. And then we'll go.
Wait,
that kind of fixes up the Minnesota pick too, I think.
Where? Oh, Carter Bryant was 26 or something on my list, right? Yeah, 26 draft. Okay. Continue.
Yeah, so we'll go Carter Bryant there.
16, Orlando.
Let's see. Who did we have here at Orlando? Esengwu, I still like that pick. Go Esengwu there. We'll have McNeely drop a little bit.
Where is Sengu's Okay, Sengu's up top. Okay. 17 is Charlotte.
We'll go Ben Seraph still for them.
Now McNeely's really dropping.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the range that I see him in, and this is a perfect fit for
Yeah.
him. So yeah, go McNeely here.
Okay.
And then Brooklyn, we're gonna stick with Sorber.
$20 is
Miami. Who did we go with their pick? Let's see. Will Riley. I still like that pick for them.
You're right. A
And
lot
this,
of this is
and
still
this,
good.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and this works out much better too for Utah because didn't we have them go flag?
We had the two white boys, and then
Yeah, so now we'll go Nolan Traore for them now. I think that's a perfect fit and range for him.
okay.
Okay.
22 is San Antonio.
And this is where we went Yaxel. I still like that.
He was down on my list, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
23
Orlando.
is,
Who's on the top of the board?
is this where you want to take McNeely? Because McNeely's still available.
I thought we took him at
Oh
20
no, we took him at 20. Never
to
mind.
Dallas. Yeah. Yeah. Still stick Walter Clayton here. I actually like that fit better now that
He
they
was
have.
down in the 50s, right? Or 48.
Yeah, he was at 48. Let's see.
OKC.
Go Danny Wolf. Yeah, because now we'll do Danny Wolf rather than Janai Broom, and we'll have Janai Broom fall because I don't think he should go that high. Minnesota at 25. This is their first pick. We're going to stick with Nick Clifford. Okay.
Atlanta.
26 is Atlanta. They still get screwed on the point guard spot. Yeah, go Hugo Gonzalez still.
It's a rough draft for them. Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks for them. I just don't see LeBaron Filan
We're
as a
back
first round pick, in all honesty. And then yeah, go Rasheer Fleming for us. Okay, so yeah, within 5 minutes we managed to fix it. Hell yeah.
There you go. Nice.
I don't see Phylon going in the first round.
Yeah, I don't see him going in the first either. I've seen a couple of mocks that have him going to Atlanta at 26. I don't know. I think if they trade Trae Young, they're going to want to go with high upside guys, or they may keep Trae. Who knows? Boston
28.
here at 28. This is where I now see. Yeah, stick Isaiah Evans here. I like that fit for them. I think they keep Porzingis and move on from Drew Holiday. So I think you're going to have Pritchard and Derek White as your 1 and 2 guard. You're going to have Brown and Tatum as your 3-4. You can have Porzingis at the 5 with Horford, Evans, and then whoever you trade Drew Holiday for, like 2 guys coming off the bench. So I could see that working out for them. Phoenix at 29.
Did he already declare?
What's up?
Evans already declare?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Phoenix at 29. They kind of need a little bit of everything. For them though, I'm gonna have them go upside. I'm gonna have them go Boogie Flan. I think that moving off of KD, potentially buying out Bradley Beal, it's gonna be kind of in their best interest to go with a guy with some really high upside that plays a position that they really have never had since Chris Paul. So I think Boogie there at 29 is really good value. And then to end off the first round, let's see. I'm looking at my board here.
The Clippers via OKC.
Yeah. I could see them going Cam Jones. I think that
I would say Cam Jones is going to go in the first round, right? I was just going to say Cam Jones
I see him
go in the
being
first
very,
round.
very late first, if not early second.
Just buckets. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see Cam Jones ending that because then you would have Janai Broom, Ado Thiaro, Noah Penda, Maxime Reynaud, LeBaron Filan, Alex Karabam, those types of players to start the second round. So yeah, that I think is pretty realistic.
I like that. I actually like that other Marquette guard.
I don't even think that guy's in the draft.
Yeah, I think he was the defensive player of the year or something. He led them
okay.
But he's not. He may not even be in the draft. Yeah.
I mean that's I feel like
Marquette
this
is
is a pretty realistic
Marquette is
first round
getting a
agency.
guy from they're getting a guy from Cayenne Anthony School next year, a point guard
Oh, okay.
from Lehigh.
All right, guys, give me your kind. I got to wrap this up. Give me your kind of final thoughts on this draft. We got Carter Bryant now instead of Liam McNeely. Does that change your thoughts on the draft? I think we agree Carter's a better player.
Heck,
What do you
heck
kind of?
yes. Heck
You feel
yes,
a lot
Gary.
better, John?
You listen.
No,
I
no.
Yeah, yes, I listen. Carter Bryant, man, he has all the tool sets necessary. He's got the physicality, quickness, speed, defense. The only problem is his offensive game, but he has like that Aaron Gordon type frame to him. And I think if we got him and you got Rasheed Fleming, the wings next year, we're actually going to be able to put a real legit fight up next year. And I like that. You get Fears, Bryant, Sorber, and Fleming. That's like a grand slam right there. Like that right there is a good draft for the Nets if you don't get a top 5 pick or you have to trade up for something like that. That would definitely be a good way to go about this, and I think Jordy would have some good options to work with this summer as far as starting their journeys in the NBA.
John, and then tomorrow you want to go live after the Knicks game. We'll break down the D'Angelo Russell stuff, the Mikal Bridges stuff, and start doing all the grades.
Exactly. I'm definitely be a fun show tomorrow. Everybody definitely tune in for that one.
Dylan, you available tomorrow after the Knicks game? After the Nets Knicks?
What time does the game start? 1 or 3?
It's
1.
1 o'clock start. So
probably after
4.
like 3:30, 4-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should be available. I'll let you know as it gets a little bit closer, just to make sure.
All right.
Hey,
I definitely. And LBL, you available tomorrow afternoon?
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
All right. Cool.
For this thing, I'm going to say 2 comments. The first one is I would trade. I mean, I'm happy that Dylan went through all of these picks and painstakingly picked the best players that he thought were available for us. But I would say I would trade everyone but that 5th pick, all 3, if it could move us into the top 4.
I hear you.
But it probably wouldn't happen. So, but and then the other thing is when it comes to them, we're gonna see. It's gonna be a lot of guys that are actually, we haven't heard. The one-on-one workouts will mean a lot. So we shall see. But I think Dylan did a great job based on it. I do like Bryant over McNeely. But I think McNeely's a solid player too. So I think he's going to show a lot better in the pros than he did at UConn.
All right, Dylan, give us your final analysis on his draft.
Yeah, I mean, if you land the 4 guys that we have here, this is by far the best outcome that you could ask for if you miss out on Harper and Flagg. You get the high upside potential star point guard of the future in Jeremiah Fears. Carter Bryant is one of the biggest question marks in terms of the rawness to his game with such high upside. At 18 years old, he's 6'8", 225. He can play both ends of the floor. I think that's an incredible pick, especially at 15 if he's still available. Sorber, one of my favorite prospects in this draft. I don't even need to keep re-explaining him. And then Fleming, again, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, guy who's not a freshman. Just a guy who's a junior or a senior, somebody that you can plug in immediately. I think Fleming is quite literally Naz Reid 2.0. And I think he would be a really good veteran presence and mentor for a guy like Noah Clowney, who needs to add a little bit of weight and physicality to his game if he really wants to make it in this league. So I love those 4 picks.
The only prerequisite Gary says is, though, we got to play them all 30 minutes apiece next year so that we could tank and get Peterson.
I was going to say, if you go Fears and you re-sign Thomas, to me, your pick needs to be DeBansta, Boozer, or Ament. Unless if you take Peterson and you want to trade Cam Thomas for a star, which again I'm all for. All for. I don't care. Peterson and Fears as your backcourt would be incredible.
That'd be fun.
All right, guys. Appreciate everyone. I want to read Lou's comment here. I still like it, Pete, and we know that Pete is actually Dylan. For a 12-year-old, you've done a great job, young man.
Yeah, 23 is the new 12, I guess. That also means probably 35 is the new 75. So thanks a lot, old timer. I appreciate it.
All right, y'all. Appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, Dylan, LBL, and of course, John will be with me. It's April 12th, 2025, from Texas to the world. Thank y'all, and God bless.
Peace.
Later.
Later.